Switching to the back end, the De-SPAC, um, can you comment on the types of De-SPAC structures that you've seen recently or are currently working on, involving Cayman entities? And what are some of the key things, steps to be aware of in that De-SPAC process that ensures an efficient process?
Yeah, I think in terms of on the De-SPAC, I mean, there's so many different structures that are that I've worked on, and I think our firm has worked on, which allows again to service the clients correctly. I think that the ones currently that I've been a part of and just recently closed and are closing soon is where we have the Cayman entity maintaining, being a TopCo basically, and so it gets listed on the U.S. exchange. That in and of itself, it's really important to know the fiduciary duties, the corporate governance, and I think part of this, like with a De-SPAC, is also, again, understanding the timing and then what needs to be executed at that time, like what approvals need to, the consents, whether it's going to be, are you going to have like a Cayman merger sub? And then it's going to merge with another Cayman entity, or it's going to merge with another jurisdiction, another entity incorporated in another jurisdiction. And with that, there's a series of documents that need to be prepared in advance, and it's really about timing in that sense. So making sure that you let whomever you're working for, the counsel as well as the client, what needs to get done and what timing is, because I think in those types of structures and what you need to be able to execute, the most important is communication, because it could be like a simple filing, but if you don't let your counsel know, your client know, then that gets missed. And then, it's a small aspect of the transaction, but affects everything else. And so going back into the, just briefly on the different types of structures, what we also see is like a deregistration. So the SPAC will deregister into Delaware depending on who the target entity is, and then the investors coming in. That's quite common. And then another, structure is where the Cayman SPAC will sit under the target entity, and it will just be there. And it's usually for tax reasons. And then we'll have another entity incorporated like a Cayman merger sub, but it's all geared towards tax reasons, withholding. So it can kind of just sit there for like 6 to 8 months, and then we'll liquidate it. So I would say like the TopCo and then it's sitting under the target is, those are two examples. And then a deregistration, those are really the type of examples that we're seeing right now.